In this video, we're uncovering the shocking rise and fall of two flashy brothers, Joseph and Gregory Muhair, who built a multi-million-pound drug empire. From quiet streets in the Wirral to sunny beaches in Thailand, their world was one of secrets, fear, and serious money. This wasn't just petty crime. We're talking about hidden drug labs, fake parcels, and encrypted phones. While their workers risked everything back home, the brothers lived it up abroad until one insider turned informant and brought it all crashing down. Joseph and Gregory Muhair weren't hiding, they were flying above it all. The brothers from the Wirral were living like kings, enjoying luxury villas in Ibiza and sunny breaks in Tenerife, while their crew kept things running back home. They traveled the world, France, Holland, America, living a life most could only dream of. But it wasn't funded by any honest business. No wages, no taxes. Gregory hadn't paid HMRC a single penny in over 5 years. Their operation was huge, moving cocaine and ecstasy across borders while they sipped cocktails by the pool. Joseph based himself in mainland Spain, staying far from Merseyside, where it all began, but close enough to keep the money flowing. They looked rich. They acted rich. But every flight, every villa, every bit of their luxury life was paid for in crime. But this wasn't just another crime story. On Merseyside, it felt like part of the DNA. Another page in a long book of gangs that seemed too big to fall, until they did. Behind the flashy holidays and poolside cocktails was a machine, cold, clever, and built to make money. At the top sat Joseph Muhair. You'd never see him touch a single drug. He never loaded a car, never handled a penny of dirty cash. He didn't need to. He ran the show from the shadows, using a structure so tight that no one saw the full picture, except him. Every person had one job. No questions, no names, just orders. His operation stretched across England and into Scotland, a nationwide firm with encrypted PGP phones, the kind the military use. Conversations vanished. Identities stayed hidden. Even dealers didn't know who they were working for. Drivers were paid $1,000 a run. Their cars turned into moving safes. Dashboards and boots packed with hidden compartments to stash blocks of cocaine or rolls of a cash. The runs never stopped. Around 150 of them, each one moving 5 kilos, sometimes 10. One job carried 18 kilos in a single trip. Joseph stayed behind the curtain, but Gregory was boots on the ground. He passed on instructions, kept the drivers in line, and made sure the gears kept turning. This wasn't street-level chaos. It was structured, ruthless, scaled like a business empire, but powered by Class A drugs. And they didn't rely on imports. They built their own supply. In a normal-looking house in Birkenhead, behind a plain front door, was their secret heart. A cellar-turned-drug lab, underground, literally. That lab pumped out around 200,000 ecstasy pills. But that was just one side of the Wirral. Across town, in Rock Ferry, the operation went even deeper. But things were about to get even more dangerous. The next lab wasn't hidden in the woods or tucked away in some warehouse. It was right there, on a high street, an empty shop in plain sight. Inside, they built a working amphetamine factory. Chemicals, tools, everything needed to cook the drug. It looked like something out of Breaking Bad, but this wasn't fiction. It was real, and it was deadly. When the heat came too close, or maybe the smell gave them away, they packed it all up and moved to a house in Spittal. Not safer, just harder to spot. The process was filthy, dangerous. They cooked 200 kilos of amphetamine using up to 75 kilos of base oil. The fumes were toxic. The air, poisonous. Gregory Muhair and Ronnie Bateman were getting sick just being near it. There was a real risk of explosion every time they turned on the burners. But the product moved fast. The gang could shift all 200 kilos in just a few days. One job had Bateman driving to Northampton to pick up key chemicals. This wasn't just dealing. It was full-scale chemical manufacturing. And it was happening under floorboards, behind shutters, in houses next to sleeping families. Once the drugs were made, they didn't sit still. From the Wirral, the Mulhare network moved products like clockwork. South to Bristol, Milton Keynes, Swindon, Oxford, Weston-super-Mare, and north into Scotland. A quiet supply chain running across the UK. Smooth, professional. This wasn't run by corner lads. It was a logistics operation disguised as a legit business. One method stood out. Parcels sent like eBay orders. Sealed up, labeled like normal electronics. Real couriers, real tracking numbers. But inside, hidden drugs. And these weren't one-way trips. The drivers brought the cash back. It was a cycle. Drugs out, money in. Fewer trips, less risk. Double the reward. And the money had its own hiding places. Some stashed inside cookers, others tucked into specially built compartments in cars designed to avoid detection. Hiding became an art form, shaped by trial and error. This wasn't a smash-and-grab job. It was a carefully built conspiracy. From December 2015 to September 2017, the operation ran non-stop. Nearly 2 years of movement, from lab to lounge, from shipment to stash house. The Muhair brothers didn't just rule their patch, they controlled the network. And for a while, no one even knew. Every empire has someone who knows too much. For the Muhair brothers, that man was Ronnie Bateman. He wasn't just another driver or hired hand. Bateman was deep inside, trusted, loyal, close enough to sit at Joseph Muhair's table in Oxton. And that kind of access wasn't handed out, it was earned. While most of the gang followed orders blind, filtered down through encrypted phones, Bateman dealt directly with Joseph. Even Gregory, hands-on and sharp, didn't get that level of trust. As Bateman later put it, Greg had his own empire, but he still answered Joseph. Bateman wasn't just watching, he was working. In December 2016, he drove to Northampton to collect amphetamine oil, the key ingredient in one of the gang's biggest batches. 200 kilos of amphetamine. He stored cash in cookers. He played courier. He helped coordinate deliveries. But that kind of access came with pressure and risk. When one drug parcel was intercepted, Bateman was left owing the gang £100,000. That was the tipping point. He'd seen too much, knew everything, and now he had a reason to talk. When he flipped, it wasn't vague. He gave police a blow-by-blow account. Names, roles, routes, methods. He didn't just back up what detectives already suspected. He filled in the gaps. He showed how orders were passed, how silence was enforced, and who truly ran the show. The Muhairs had built an empire on secrecy and control. Bateman was the crack in the wall, the loyal lieutenant who turned the tide. The investigation was called Operation Manhattan, but this wasn't New York. It was the Wirral, and the Northwest Regional Organized Crime Unit was closing in. From December 2015 to September 2017, they ran a relentless probe, tracking deals, connections, and cash. And it paid off. By the end, they'd seized £66,000 in cocaine, £28,000 in MDMA, £336,000 in amphetamine, £420,000 in cannabis, and £80,000 in raw cash. Each bust stripped away another layer. By 2017, most of the gang's inner circle were behind bars, but not the brothers. Joseph and Gregory were already gone, vanished, leaving their crew to face the fallout. In total, 24 defendants were sentenced. A massive criminal structure dismantled piece by piece. One of them was Paul Filey, a key player. He was handed 14 years from the dock in Birkenhead. For Detective Chief Inspector Ian Hussey, who led the charge, it was personal. A long, complex investigation, one that wouldn't stop until the last domino dropped. But even with the cells filling up, two names were still missing: Joseph and Gregory Muhair. Gone, but not forgotten. As the walls closed in, the brothers slipped out. Joseph Muhair vanished in July 2017. 2 months later, Gregory followed. By the time police came knocking, the top two names on their list were already gone. The brothers met in Morocco, regrouped, and disappeared again. This time, heading east. A flight from Casablanca to Phuket, Thailand. But they weren't just hiding, they were still pulling strings, still running the show from halfway across the world. In early summer 2018, they surfaced in Turkey. Partners flew out to meet them, proof the business was still alive, the loyalty still strong. From there, they returned to Morocco, then Thailand again. It became a pattern. Countries with no extradition treaties, low police pressure. This wasn't panic, it was a strategy. While their crew stood trial back home, Joseph and Gregory lived free, sun-drenched, disconnected, untouchable, at least for a while. In November 2018, the calm broke. Deep in Thailand, the Mulhare brothers were asleep in a hotel room, relaxed, unbothered. Then came the knock. Thai police didn't come gently. They kicked in the door, armed with semi-automatics, ready for a fight. But there wasn't one. The brothers were caught cold, cuffed before they could speak. A photo captured the scene. Joseph and Gregory Muhair sat on a hotel sofa, hands bound, grimacing. Thai officers stood behind them, a final portrait of power undone. Then came the choice: rot in a Thai jail or return to face justice in the UK. They didn't hesitate. They chose extradition, not out of honor, out of fear. Because even behind bars, Britain was better than a Thai prison cell. The escape was over. Now comes the reckoning. Back in the UK, the Mulhare brothers finally faced the music. But the most devastating blow didn't come from lawyers or lab results. It came from the inside. Ronnie Bateman, the trusted lieutenant, now the star witness. When he took the stand, everything changed. Security was tight. The courtroom was sealed. Public gallery is empty because what Bateman had to say could get him killed, and he didn't hold back. His testimony was detailed. Movements, names, methods. He confirmed what detectives suspected, and then went further. What was theory became fact. What was secret became evidence. This wasn't some quiet plea deal. Bateman had signed a SPA agreement, the Serious Organized Crime and Police Act. It meant protection, it meant leverage, and it meant one thing: his words carried weight. He should have been looking at 20 years. Instead, the judge gave him 5 years and 4 months. Prosecutor Ian Unsworth, KC, said it plain. Bateman hadn't just supported the case, he'd strengthened it. He showed how the Mulhare thought, operated, and trusted no one, except him. The supergrass had spoken, and the empire finally fell. For years, Joseph and Gregory Muhair moved like shadows, untouchable, unchallenged, and unbothered. But in the end, all empires fall. Joseph Mulhare The strategist, the silent one at the top, was sentenced to 15 years and 4 months. The judge called him the apex of all conspiracies. Gregory, hands-on sharp, the younger brother, was handed 12 years and 8 months. As the sentence dropped, he didn't flinch. "Nice one," he said. "See you all later." Like it was just another stop on the journey. But it wasn't. No planes waiting, no sun-soaked villas, no couriers, no encrypted phones. Just cold time. The Mulhare name, once whispered through hidden labs and dark alleys, now echoes through the prison halls. A criminal dynasty built on chemicals, cash and control, brought down by betrayal, pressure and time. This was the end. The phones went dead. The cars stopped running. And the Mulhare faded into the system. For more raw, real and gripping crime stories from across the UK, hit like, subscribe and turn on notifications. This is UK Crime Stories, where no secret stays buried forever. Until next time, stay alert, stay safe.